I couldn't work on Alien Nation because every time I got called for an audition, I had to work Beauty and the Beast. Talk about being torn between two worlds, I'll tell you. But I wouldn't give up Beast for anything. And everybody knew that. That was my priority. I also did regular work on Hunter, Dream On, a number of other shows. Did a number of small acting parts. But Beast has always been my love. It's always been the fun. It's always been the fantasy. It was a great show because you could go in and play Let's Pretend, and you had other people play Let's Pretend with you. And they were great about it. They would drop into the character at a moment's notice. But you did have a surreal thing. We were so used to seeing Ron in the Vincent makeup that when he would not be in the makeup, you'd catch yourself staring at him going, who are you? It was, one day he was at the, we had a craft service table, he was at a craft service table, and he kept his hair pretty buzz short for the show because of the wigs and everything. Well, we're up there, hey, Ron's here, let's go hug him and bug him like we always do. And he turned around and he had Vincent's face on. Now that was unnerving. That was really unnerving. But, and watching Vincent smoke a cigar was also a little strange. Anybody that knows Ron always has a cigar in his hand. And if you sit with Vincent, puffing away, and you're like, you've been above too long again, haven't you? See, I was aware of a lot of the actors in Beauty and the Beast. I was a fan of Fame. So I was excited with David. I watched Roy for years. And I said something on set that I was told later I shouldn't have said, but it was okay because Ron was ecstatic about it. Apparently nobody said it. I love ice pirates. That's when I first really saw Ron, and I thought that man was gorgeous. And so we got talking because we had a mutual friend. I was on the show, Mike Tuzik. So we got talking quite a bit, and we said, we should have talked about ice pirates, and he was great about it. We sat there and he told me more stories, So I was very aware of the actors and the talent I was working with, and I felt very honored to be able to work with that kind of talent. And what made it more fun is I found the higher the talent, the nicer they are to you. The shows would sort of skate through with very little talent. They're the ones you treated like dirt on. But you get a show like Beast, and they're the ones that just treat you like gold. And again, make you part of the family. Any more questions? Yeah. I was in everything in the first season, pretty much, except the first episode. That was a little hard to do. All the second season and pretty much half of the third season. Well, when you saw Tunnel People, I was normally there. And some episodes I was right there up close, and some episodes just sort of like needed a freeze frame, go like that. Anything else? Yeah.
I have a question. I've gone way back. Did it bother people in the series when they left big holes that they didn't fill in? Like things just kind of moved from one thing to the other sometimes? Did you kind of wish also that they would have filled in some things?
Yeah, I wish they'd sort of filled in. Because I do some writing. And it was like, ooh. So yes, because I could also sit back and look at the show as a fan. And so I share that with, yes, sometimes I would say close things in a little tighter and work things, and you're suddenly going, well, wait a minute. This conflicts with what they said down the line. But overall, I was very happy with the show, very proud of what they did. Anything else? Mm-hmm. No, that's again why I feel guilty the show was canceled, because I was supposed to get lines the next season. Yeah, I was supposed to. And, but that was something that was just going to come out. Like I said, the Rats got together and we created our own storylines for our own characters. And it was interesting because I've done over 350 extra roles. And, like I said, everything from Need the Freeze Frame to quite predominant, like in Beauty and the Beast, that was the only show I'd ever been on that we actually created our own backgrounds and our own characters, and everybody knew how we got there, why we were there. I was born in the tunnels. Joe had come in. Joe was a World War II pilot that had a bad time and didn't handle the world too well. That's how he came in. So we all had our own little stories, and we were told eventually these own little stories were going to come out. And the other thing too, as anybody that knows me, I fought the whole season because I don't like wearing dresses. I wanted pants. And they told me again, if it went the next season, I was going to get to be in my pants. So I feel real guilty here on a few things. because they would take bits of one tunnel, film us running that way, and then tear that apart, make another tunnel out of that. So there were always, it varied. And again, we would go, we filmed in an old two-story building, two-story warehouse, like I said, down in Vernon, that Poltergeist had filmed there, Warlock had filmed there, some other things. And if they had something set up and we were bored, we'd go play in the tunnels. So, like I said, it was a playground for us, but it would always change. That's what made it so much fun. You never have to run around the corner and see what was in over there this week. Yeah.
Are any of the sets still stored?
I don't know. I'd love to find that out for myself.
We missed you last year, and I thought you were going to be here the rest of the weekend.
Pardon, could you?
I said we missed you last year.
Oh, thank you.
Are you going to be here the rest of the weekend?
I'm going to try to get down. I've got to go home tonight. I'm about 3.5 hours away, so like I said, I'll tell you anything right now because I'm tired. But I'm going to brag on my husband. My husband's getting an award tomorrow. He's a police officer, motorcycle officer, and he just apprehended and recovered his 200th stolen vehicle, so I'm very proud of him. So, like I said, if I can, I'm going to try to come back Sunday, but it sort of depends on what celebration the rest of the family has. Yeah.
I'd like to hear more about the background you developed for your character.
All right, one of the things if I'd stay longer, which I'd like, is I want a name. You know, everybody likes to have a name. I'd really like to have a name, because that's the only thing we didn't really develop. Joe, we figured just stayed Joe. But what we had is, my mother had died in childbirth, and she was from the tunnels. She was one of the, her family had come in. We had the tunnels have been there a long, long time. And Joe was, again, this World War II Mitchell pilot that just didn't quite come home from the war. And so he settled down there, and I was born down there. My love down there was animals. They wanted to send me above. I didn't want to go above, so they didn't. I was very happy there. I worked with the kids. I helped Ellen a lot with the children. I enjoyed that. More of a tomboy. I was one of the ones that would be off exploring everything and getting into trouble. That was me. Like I said, I loved Mouse. Really loved Mouse. We had to have the talk. In fact, Dad took me down one day. We had to talk about why you can't marry Mouse. Which was sort of like, why? But I really did. My character really, truly, honestly was in love with him. Had a big crush on him that developed into love. And we never quite figured out if it was a protective love or just an honest love, but there was that there. So that's the real basic on my character. And my character would be one that would spend the rest of her life in the tunnels very happily. I'd go out occasionally, but no real desire because there was so much stuff down there to see him do. Hmm? Yes?
Did Mouse know that you were on?
David just found out a few minutes ago. I finally fessed up to him. I'll tell you, David was great though, because I did a costume contest with a friend of mine, and I did Mouse. And a picture was shown to David, and I was terrified. And he was wonderful. In fact, David taught me how to do Mouse. And no, I'm not doing it right now, because I've been asked to before, because I haven't done it in so many years, especially not with him here. So, any other? I'm glad to.
What are you doing now?
Right now, I've gotten out of acting for a little while. Like I said, I'm very involved with my horses. I just got, like I said, my big baby, my big Percheron, and I do equestrian drill. So I'm working with that. I've also gotten very involved in our town. Our town is a small town up in Central California. A lot of history. It was the Palm Springs North in its day, and in the 20s and 30s, a lot of big celebrities, Clark Gable, Carole Lombard, Humphrey Bogart stayed there. So right now, I'm the head of the historical committee that we're getting a lot of these buildings declared historical landmarks, and we're going to try to bring in a 1920s, 1930s film festival with look-alike actors and everything else, and recreate a little bit of the magic of the time. It's very important to me.
What city?
Small town called Lindsay, California. Ever heard of Lindsay Olives?
Yes.
That was us. 4,000 people in an olive plant.